Hey everyone, my name is Mark Hayward. Thank you very much for joining me on the Absolute Business Mindset podcast and YouTube channel. Today we're going to talk to Ivan, Anz and Skye Logan, who are the founders and CEOs of Philantroinvestors. Now we are going to start this conversation really interestingly with Ivan, who is who's based from Argentina originally, and he talks about the upbringing of what it's like in Argentina and refers to the World Cup win and how the journey of what the Argentinian person is like. So that's absolutely fascinating. And then we talk about how he joined and decided to come to the US and start his business, Equity and Help, which is a property business where he helps blue collar workers be able to get a foothold in the property market, even though they don't have a full deposit. So we talk about this and talk about how he grew this business and then grew it in the US, and how he then had this God revelation where he needed to be able to do more for a large number of people. So he then went out and created Philantroinvesting, which helps in lots of different areas, in plastics, housing, water, preventing disease. Skye talks very knowledgeably about being the CEO of that company and how he's growing that company and working with partners in different countries. They work in 16 different countries, which is absolutely amazing, absolutely fascinating. So you'll see what it's like to be able to run multiple businesses, multiple streams in multiple countries. So hopefully you will enjoy this interview. It's a really wide-reaching talking about philanthropy as well as business and entrepreneurship. And just lastly, if you are enjoying this content, please do give it a like. Please do give it a subscribe and hit the bell icon. It really helps. We need to be able to build up this number of people that are subscribing. It really helps with the algorithm as well as the thumbs up. So if you are enjoying this content, please do those things. That would really super help me. And if you've got any comments, please do leave them on the comment section below. Thank you very much for your time. Hopefully you enjoy this interview. Over to Ivan and Skye. Today we have Ivan, Anz and Skye Logan. Hello guys, how are you today?
Fantastic, Mark. Thanks for having us.
Thank you
Thanks
very
for
much.
having us, Mark.
Brilliant stuff. So we're going to talk about Philantroinvesting and we'll talk about that, but we're going to initially start with the question I ask all of my guests, and I'll ask this first question to Skye. The podcast is called the Absolute Business Mindset Podcast. What does a business mindset mean to you?
Well, it means to me everything is aligned to business expansion, business growth, the development of it as a service, as a product, getting it into the marketplace. For us, being a global international company, getting that into various markets of the world, which has obviously got its difficulties, but that business mindset is doing whatever it takes to get that brand, get the service products, as I said, out there and overcome all the obstacles towards it, and even pivoting when needed. So that's.
And you've got lots of different businesses, from what I understand. You run multiple businesses within this Philantroinvesting umbrella. So we're going to break that down and understand that a little bit more as this conversation goes. But we've got to start with you, Ivan, about your upbringing. So the question I usually ask people, and I know you brought up in Argentina, you came to the US without speaking English, but the first question I wanted to ask you was, tell me one thing about your upbringing which reflects who you are now.
Well, I think that one of the key things is be willing to trust the abilities of other people. So that's, I think, what brings me up to date. And I always believe that there is people that are more able than me to do the execution of the dreams that somehow come through me, but are for humanity, you see. So that's basically my answer to you. It's like, like you can be the creator of something, which comes, the word entrepreneur, if you go to the Latin, is someone that puts the seed for an enterprise. And is the, when you go to the Latin word, it means to start. It means to start and to create. So then you need the CEO who can do the execute, chief executive officer for execution of that seed and that start and that beginning. And it needs to be a really good match between the two people, and it needs to be a lot of trust, so the organization can be created and achieve the dreams for the humanity or the public that is serving and improving in the world. So that's my answer to you, my friend.
Fantastic. And as the listeners will not know, but the viewers on YouTube will know, that Skye is actually the CEO of Philantroinvestors and Ivan is the founder. Just to tell one last time about your upbringing. So what was your upbringing, a typical upbringing in Argentina? Just tell me a little bit about what it was like growing up in Argentina then.
Well, Argentina is a country where I was born and I really love. And as you know, we now won the World Cup, right?
Yes.
So the entire country is very happy. And but it's a country, as you see, if you watch the last game, the World Cup, the final game, that we were, we scored 2 goals, and then in the minute number 75, we were like, okay, we're winning this thing. And then in the last 15 minutes, France scored like 2 goals, and then we scored the third one, and then we win this thing, in just 3 minutes to finish. And then France scored the third one. That's kind of how it is living and growing in Argentina. That's exactly like the exact scenario, because the country puts so many changes to entrepreneurs and change of rules, and you need to just be prepared all the time and super alert and be willing to wingle it, like boom, like change and make changes and adapt and adapt so fast, as you were seeing in the final of the World Cup, that you were seeing with the Argentinian team was doing. Like, okay, oh my gosh, they come to our same level. Let's, now another goal. Oh my gosh, and these things is like, that's what I perceive of living in Latin America is, and Argentina specifically. But the interesting thing, Mark, is that when you are prepared like that for an enterprise, it's very valuable for countries like United States that are very calm, and there is no so much changes on the main rules of the government on how to operate business rules, because all of that energy and ability to adapt and change is directed towards creation of growing of the company.
Right.
You see, so that's basically my analysis of Argentina and entrepreneurship.
And what made you come in 2014 to the US?
Can you repeat the question? Sorry, Mark.
So what made you come to the US in 2014?
Okay, so in 2007, I was running one of my companies in Argentina, which is a network of car dealerships and franchise of dealerships.
Yeah.
And then as I was running that company, I was feeling, it's fun to sell cars. It's really fun. I took that company from 15 staff to 90 plus staff in a few years and so on. And then after that, as a family enterprise with my family and so on. But after that, I realized there is something else than just having fun in business. There is something else than just making money in business. And that's creating a business that is also for real changing people's lives. It's making money while changing people's lives, one life at a time. Because, like the ripple effect, like when you drop a stone in a lake and you have that ripple effect, one life that you change and you put into a better condition, or that you raise the status quo of that life, the ripple effect can be like infinite if you look at it. Mm-hmm. Like one time I tell to a friend, have you ever done the exercise of the ripple effect of a bad action versus a ripple effect of a good action? So for example, you go, and you are in the street and you shout to someone, like scream to someone, right?
Mm.
And then that person that you scream to someone, you change her day. And she was in a good mood, and now she's in a bad mood. So she now arrived to her home. And now her kid was studying and reading something. So now the kid asked her for something, for help, and she says, I'm not going to help you today. And so now the kid doesn't understand that study that she was studying. And then the kid goes to the school, and the kid fails in the test. And then because the kid fails in the test, then he doesn't pass on the year. And and I can continue and continue and continue. And I just gave you an example like that.
Mm.
And then on the other side, you have the ripple effect of a good action with someone.
Mm.
And you never know that effect, where it goes. So imagine an enterprise like Philantroinvestors that is touching the lives of families with housing Philantroinvesting, and is touching the life of water with water Philantroinvesting and recycling water, and is touching the recycling of plastic and prevention of plastic going to the ocean, and is touching the prevention of top big diseases that can kill people with health Philantroinvesting. So one life at a time. And the ripple effect is just immense. So Mark, that's basically how everything started. In 2009 in Argentina, I was taking a shower, and I had this like God revelation. And this God revelation was like Philantroinvestors, was like the word. And I was creating a private neighborhood in Argentina, which was my first real estate entrepreneurship that started in 2007. And I was selling lots, and I was feeling like, okay, like sell lot, get the money, sell a lot, get the money. But there is this family that comes to me, Mark, and they were not able to pay for the lot, and no any way to pay for the lot. And the kids in the back of the car were saying, Daddy, 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 we want to live here. Daddy, 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 we want to live here. So that night is when the Philantroinvestors concept hits my universe, my mind, and God was telling me, hey, in 20, 10, 30 years from now, the people will not be just trashing the money away in a casino or, in the speculative investment world, just throwing the money away. They will be more conscious about money. They will know that this is a resource to improve life. They will understand the ripple effect of putting money into gambling or putting money into Philantroinvesting. And the whole idea came to me just like that. And he says, Ivan, there is something more than just, making business just for money. And that's where this hit me. And I call Andres in the next morning, and I say, Andres is the dad of that family. And I say, Andres, how much can you pay per month for this lot? Well, Ivan, it's a $50,000 lot. What are you talking about? Yeah, how much? Well, he says, $250. Well, the lot is yours, I tell him. And when I heard Mark, that family in the other side of the phone just screaming of happiness, like that was it, the next story, but I sit with my wife, and my wife tell me, Ivan, why we don't share this with the US? Why we don't bring this to the US and kind of export it to the US? Because everything that happened in the US, the world will copy. And that's why we moved to the US to continue the housing Philantroinvesting movement in 2014 in the US.
Amazing. That's an amazing story. Thank you. So Skye, how did you get introduced to Ivan? How did you come on board with Philantroinvesting?
Yeah, that's something I was trying to recall the other day on how he and I first met. And I don't recall, but it's interesting. Similar personalities have a synergy, and they tend to connect. They say it's a small world, right? So you tend to find each other. And I've been a huge volunteer humanitarian for well over 20 years. And the same thing, I weigh a man by his ability to help others, to serve mankind. And I've always had that. I can make money, I can make millions of dollars, et cetera, but it doesn't have a high enough level of purpose, right? So anything I want to do, I want to have a high level of purpose. And I was just kind of putting out there in the universe of, wanting to find something more, wanting this and that. And I can't remember how he connected with me, or we connected together many moons ago, but we did. And at that time, I was living in Puerto Rico with my wife and my kids, and we have 6 kids together combined. And I was in Puerto Rico, and we connected, and he talked to me about equity and help at that time, and about Philantroinvesting, and about the mission, the statement of providing housing. And I was immediately sold on, on Ivan, of course, love Ivan to death, and always will, ride and die kind of guy for sure. And so located up to Florida area, and came onto the equity and help scene, and did that for quite a while. And from there, it's kind of gone over to the position of CEO for Philantroinvestors, the umbrella company with the various PI partners and companies underneath it.
And was your experience humanitarian or business before Philantroinvesting?
To be honest, volunteer humanitarian work. I did that initially for about 15 years solidly, and wasn't on the money mission, business building mission, as much as I was on volunteer work and various things. Yeah.
Amazing. Okay, so you got brought in with equity and help, which Ivan sort of explained. So you buy properties, and then the families then contribute to build the pot to be able to pay it back. So you're financing for families. How do you select the families, Skye? Maybe you can answer this. How do you select the families that are going to help that you're going to help contribute to build their homes?
Yeah, well, that's definitely a bit of an interview process and things, and how we determine which families to sell to, and without getting into that whole long process, but we definitely do. We qualify them, but no matter what, the end goal is providing housing. They have part ownership in the property, so the investors invest in the property, and the families can purchase the house. I guess a similarity that would be very rapid to understand is a rent-to-own concept type of deal, where they can provide their small down payment. They provide the payment goes towards the ownership, so they actually have some equity in it, and it builds up to it, which they love. And the needy families, or whatever you want to call them, that they do not have an ability to buy a house. I mean, what is the average home price right now in the U.S. is about $365,000, and there's a lot of families underneath that area, either credit score wise, or they're just living check to check, barely making it. They can never get into home ownership. So the entire equity and help program is good. We want to provide housing for those people that are being overlooked.
Right.
The venture funds, the huge funds providing housing, and various, they overlook this sector. And there are millions of people across the U.S. that fit into this niche, and that's why, again, for 3 years, Equity and Help's been a Inc. 500 company, just doing fantastic growth, and our investors and the families alike are just absolutely eating it up.
It's an amazing idea. I think it's an incredible idea. What areas do you actually cover? Are you US based on this side?
For right now, US only. Yeah.
And do you prioritize particular sort of blue collar areas?
Mainly the rural areas, to be honest. Urban housing is quite a bit over the price point of what we're looking for our investors being able to buy a house. They buy a portfolio of homes, and we want to, for their investment, $150,000 investment or whatever they're going to buy in, we can buy multiple houses in rural areas. And you've got the blue collar workers, tradesmen, etc. Again, those that cannot afford to buy a house. That it goes a lot further than an urban home that's going to cost $600,000.
It's an interesting idea, because there's kind of two, and you're solving one of the problems, and I just want to explore the other area. The two areas which I see. So you've got the people that are currently renting and can't afford their own houses, and as you say, sort of blue collar workers, tradesmen, and things like that can't afford to buy their own homes, which I'd see you're servicing. there's a whole area which we suffer in the UK with, which I know companies sort of help with social housing in the UK for the people that are homeless, or they don't have a job, that can't afford to go into owning their own homes. How do you service those, the homeless side, or is that for another charity?
That's a different thing that we're not into quite yet. Maybe at some point get into it later on. As far as we're talking about philanthropy, we're wanting to give a hand up to those that are willing. They're hard workers. They can make solid payments. They're good on their word, and they want to reach for it. As far as homeless goes, we're different. They might not quite fit and be able to. Again, we don't check credit scores on people coming in. We don't check various things, but we do want to make sure that they're deserving families. We want to make sure that they're good on their payments. Good, they have 12 months of solid rental payments, and again, we want to give a hand up to good families that are going to be a contribution to society, right?
So I can see that you built equity and help, and what, Ivan, you were saying earlier that you helping now in water, in plastic and diseases. How did you then build this, the sort of other arms to Philantroinvestors?
Well, it was a process, because after we established Equity and Help in 2014, you can imagine that the first thing I do as soon as I arrived to the US is hire the CEO. That's the first thing I did. And so I hired a CEO, and then we started growing from there and so on. And in 2019, Mark, I was taking another shower.
A lot of your ideas come in the shower, it appears.
Exactly. And I believe, for real, I don't know, but I believe that, water is life. And I believe water has this energy that you are bringing it into abundance into you in the shower, and somehow it's giving that level of relaxation and bringing. That's why ideas happen in shower sometimes. It's just an idea, a concept that I have. But anyhow, so I was in the shower in 2019 in October in Utah, and I was taking a shower, and in a home of a friend there, and then this other idea comes to me. Ivan, I didn't give you the Philantroinvestor brand just to help families live in their own homes. No, Ivan, there is much more other problems in the planet. And there is, and he gives me this other idea, this other brand that we have, which is Life Essentials. And I say, Life Essentials? What are you trying to tell? What are you trying to tell me now? So it was 11 p.m. at night. I go to instead of going to bed, I go to the laptop and I start researching the different areas of the world that had traveled. And I discover that only 8% of the population in the planet lives in good air quality communities, good air quality cities, or states, whatever. So I discovered that, and I said, oh, I got it. The first and most important life essential is air. Then I continue looking. 6,000 kids die from water-related diseases every single day. Oh my God, the next life essential is water. I continue looking, and for first time, I start looking at Equity and Help International. And I look and I say, oh, there is more than 1 billion people that are homeless, and another 1 billion plus people that are just tenants and do not own their home. And I see, oh my gosh, another life essentials is housing. And I continue looking. 1 billion tons of food is wasted every year, at the same time that 1 billion people is suffering from hunger. So the next life essentials is food. So I go like that, and I arrive to the 10 life essentials. And I say, I got it. Philantroinvestors is a platform that reconnects people back with life essentials, because humanity has disconnected themselves from life essentials in a sense. So it's allow people to bring the resources that the life essentials is giving them. Like if you don't have air and water, you will not be able to produce that money that you produce. So why not bring that money back a little bit to the life essentials that allow you to produce that money in the first place?
So how do you help people with water? Is it people that don't have clean water? Is that what you're helping in? Because I see that you're in 16 different countries. So how do you sort of help? Maybe this is over to you, Skye. How do you help communities, countries, areas with water? Which in some I've read that it's going to be termed the new gold, in the fact that it is absolutely essential, and a lot of people are not exposed to it. How do you help people with water?
Well, our company, our PI partner, PI company, Origin Clear, we're supporting and helping the company providing capital and other business development growth to that company, that their company themselves they have innovative tech. And same thing with any of the other partners and companies that we bring on. They have an innovative technology of some kind that can solve this problem. You know, it's too big of a problem for PI or Philantroinvestors itself to solve, for sure. Same thing with anything. You want something done, you place, as Ivan was saying, you put a CEO there, they get it done. And you keep growing, and you keep putting these terminals, you put these companies there that have the technology, they have something that they're not growing fast enough. They have a founder, they have a great product, great service, great technology, but they need our backing, our global connections of investment funds, capital, and our knowledge on how to actually scale a business, bring them public, etc. So that's what we're doing.
How do you work with a cross-border, like, so on a multinational sort of level rather than just a national level? How do you do the functionality side of working across borders?
Yeah, I'll let Ivan talk about that, because he's very much into the global side for sure.
Okay, Ivan, you go for it.
So, Mark, the international expansion, it comes from different areas. One thing is the international expansion for Philantroinvestors, which comes from founders itself. We call them Philantroinvestors founders. This is entrepreneurs that buy the license to represent Philantroinvestors in their country or in their state, in the case of the United States.
Right.
And they become the face for Philantroinvestors in that area of the world. And that's for the Philantroinvestor footprint expansion. But in the sense of each company, for example, let's say Origin Clear with water, we have helped recycle water in Spain. We have helped recycle water in Asia. We are looking at an operation in Mexico, where we are partnering and joint venture with a Mexican entrepreneur to license the Origin Clear technology to him. So this is basically having an area in the organization, and this is for entrepreneurs that are listening also. If you have an area in the organization that is called international expansion, guess what you get in the company? You get international expansion.
Yes.
So that's basically what we are doing. And with Equity and Health was the same thing. I created this division, international expansion, from the day number one. And that's why we have housing Philantroinvestors in 14 countries that are supporting families in the US. And it's important because to grow the company beyond the country where it's in, because it makes it a much, it's ethical, because if it's something good what you have, you cannot limit it to one country. You need to open it to the people outside, and also have the same benefit that the people of your country can have. So that's why the international expansion division in every single company is very ethical to have.
Absolutely. I think it's an amazing idea. So how do you build the fund, either of you, the fund to buy the houses, to work with the entrepreneurs? How do you build that fund to be able to run Philantroinvestors?
What do you mean, the fund?
Well, the money to start those endeavors, whether it's the
Oh,
equity in help, whether it's in water, you
I
obviously
see.
need a fund to be able to start the process going.
Okay. So each one is different. Equity and Health was my own funds. So I just, self-funded the company. And then, it rolled into just selling the product, reinvesting the profits, and continue growing the company. In the case of the other companies, we joined them by becoming partners of them. So we go into a joint venture agreement with the companies, and they get the ability to get all the benefits of being the company under that area in Philantroinvestors. These companies are companies that are already started. Some of them are pre-money and some of them are post-money. So some of them are already with revenue and some of them are, in the process of going through revenue to revenue. And then that's basically it. And in some of them we invest capital also together with our Philantroinvestors that are going to support the companies. And that's basically how you see Philantroinvestors is this platform that connects investors with humanitarian causes, so they cannot just create cash flow but fulfilling cash flow.
Yeah. And Skye, what's your view? I tend to stay away from controversial subjects, but I'm just interested. Bill Gates has obviously been a very important factor of philanthropy in the US for the last 5-10 years, whatever it is that he's been working on. What's your view on those types of organizations, that sort of foundation helping people in the US and across the world?
I absolutely love them. There are a lot of impact investors, a lot of venture VCs that give, and it's increasing more and more. And that's something that we are definitely going to help improve and grow. But it's coming around. People are becoming more and more conscious of humanitarian efforts. And good, I can grow my capital plus put it towards some kind of benefit, not just making a better widget. And Bill Gates Foundation, a lot of other firms and funds, and that's absolutely part of our work is connecting with them, because we want to utilize that capital and kind of steer it towards a lot of these companies that we have fully vetted, we've partnered with. And
so just on the vetting of the companies, so in the same way you vet the people with the equity and home, but equity and help, how do you actually vet the entrepreneurial companies? How do you go through that process? What's the rigor that you do with that vetting?
Yeah, Ivan, I'll let you speak on that as well.
Okay, so on that, Mark, the beautiful thing about these companies, because yes, as you know, Mark, Skye has been on housing Philantroinvesting, and we promote him for CEO of Philantroinvestors like 30 days ago. So I've been training him for this umbrella like in the last 30 days and so on. But it has been an amazing journey. But the main thing is that we onboard these companies, and what we look at it is few things. Number one is innovative product, innovative technology that can really do a change in humanity, like change humanity for good. That their product and their technology is under one of the life essentials, that it fits one of these life essentials and improves one of the life essentials, which are 10 in total. And you can learn about the life essentials in my book that became #1 in Amazon in 3 categories this year, housing, Philantroinvesting. All the life essentials are there. It focused on housing because then I will launch Water Philantroinvesting book and all the next books that are coming, in the line. But that's basically it. And the next thing that we will look is for integrity in management. We want to see that the management team is a team that is fully dedicated to that cause, that they are not just playing a game and they have multiple other games. They don't have other fishes to fry, basically. That's another thing that we look, and this is their main focus, and they are improving this in life and so on. And then that's basically the three main factors that we look at it. We look at their financial, their financials. We see how they are treating their money. and then it goes through multiple interviews and so on. And we research that there is not even one dot of bad reputation across the internet. We do a very deep due diligence on that, and that's basically it.
So, Skye, you sounds like you've been sort of you've been built. Ivan's been building this role for you, and that you've been fulfilling. So, what for you is a day-to-day activity in your role?
Talking with investors, obviously managing the company itself, of course, the usual day-to-day toils of that. But talking with investors, obviously a lot of podcasts, a lot of interviews. I will be on stage here in a few weeks doing some events. Just the CEO, standard CEO position, business dev, building up the company and figuring out I have a COO that takes care of the daily, the execution, but the coordination and making sure everything is staying on point for the growth and for not only for us. The tricky thing we have, obviously, it's not only just PI or Philantroinvestors. We're also making sure the growth of the companies, our PI partners, are happening as well, right? So quite a busy day.
And what about managing? So you say you've got an operations person to deal with the day-to-day running, but the managing side for 16 different countries, for multiple different businesses, how do you manage to juggle all those different plates?
Yeah, again, that's a whole other podcast just in itself on how to manage business management, right? So again, you have to repeat. I'll repeat it again. It's finding and putting the right people there. Is absolutely key. From the CEO, CFO, the entire team, because it just will never happen unless you have the fantastic people, the team with you, employees, and your C-level executives. You're not going to have that growth, the vision. One between myself as CEO and obviously the founder, Ivan, just putting that vision there, but it has to be executed. So you have to have that good team.
Yeah.
Right.
Ivan, bit of a sideways question, but when you look at the US, you often see that immigrants that came to the US are actually exceptional entrepreneurs, and they can do great things across globally and the US. Why do you think immigrants to the US make such great entrepreneurs?
Well, two things. I think that US is doing a very good job on selling the American dream to people. So people outside that come from outside time from this with the positive intention and the positive image that it will happen for them. And that mindset makes a huge difference. And then the second thing is the training that countries outside the US have, which are like much more, how I say, like the US is like, in my viewpoint, is very easy. Like the rules, operate business, creating a company, opening bank accounts, getting credit, all of these things, finding venture capital, are easier than in other countries, in my viewpoint.
Sure.
So when you come with the training like me from Argentina, for example, or someone that comes from Iran or Iraq or any country in the world that is much more rough and difficult and requires much more abilities in order to survive in that country, when you come to the US, that abilities are used for the business creation and expansion. So it's the combination of the positive idea that it will be positive and it will be success, yes or yes, plus the abilities that are created in the entrepreneurship world in a much more difficult country to be an entrepreneur, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I 100% agree. So Skye, what's the plan for Philantroinvestors for the next 2 to 5 years?
That goal is one. I want to have companies in every single one of the 10 verticals for life essentials, and each one of them, each one's going to have their own milestone where we want to have them at with each of the the 1 year, 3 year, 5 and 10 year goals, and making sure they're achieving those. And that's, it's pretty simple. We obviously have some internal goals of taking some companies public, creating at least one unicorn within that time period. And we'll be bringing on others. We only service one company in each of the verticals because all of our attention is good as just water and stuff. Now, if we take on others that might later on down the road or whatever, that's to be seen. But we absolutely, the amount of world change that we can create, not only the capital growth, but just the world change is going to be huge. I have a personal target within that 10-year period to directly influence at least 3 million people's lives, right? And I am easily going to be able to do that with Philantroinvestors.
Amazing. That's it sounds an incredible journey that you're on at the moment, and it seems an incredibly tricky sort of balancing act that both of you are having to do with the whole 10 essentials plus the different verticals. I've got a lot of respect for what you're doing and how you're doing it. Look, we're coming to the end of the interview. I asked the same 6 questions to all of my guests. They're quick fire questions. They don't need a quick fire answer. We'll do sort of alternate for each of you. The first question is for you, Ivan. What's the best decision that you made in your life?
Marrying my wife.
Why?
Well, because I believe that 99% of the success that I have had is listening to her, because she has an external viewpoint on everything that is going on around my life and my companies and so on. So she always have that seed to plant in my mind, or a way to solve something that I have not been seeing. Even living in the US was her idea. So she was the one that says, Ivan, we should export this to the US. In my mind, I maybe was never there, because I was seeing that the US is the American dream and families don't need help to live in their homes. I was thinking from Argentinian viewpoint, like, no, everybody in the US owns their home. Why am I going to go and help them own their home? If everybody owns their home, it's the country of the American dream, and everybody have their car and their home and their vacation, and life is solved there, right? But she said, no, Ivan, let's try. And yeah. That's
I didn't know if you were going to say having so many showers.
Well, that's come also. I would say that's second. That's second.
Okay, over to you, Skye. What's the best piece of advice you've been given?
Best piece of advice: learn to serve. For sure. Work harder on yourself than you do your job. Immediately.
That's interesting. So you've had a personal development journey for you.
Oh yeah, constantly. As soon as I got onto that track, it's game over, because you're always expanding. You don't sit still. I think being sedentary is a disease for anyone.
And how do you do that? Do you read books? Do you do podcasts? Do you do events? Like what's been your track, Skye, for your personal development journey?
Everything and anything. It sometimes drives my wife crazy because I don't watch TV. In fact, I don't have a TV in our house. Anytime she catches me doing anything, I'm watching YouTube videos on personal dev or audiobooks, big Audible guy. I'm driving to and from things. I'm listening every single day. I probably get in to be easily probably 3 hours a day on something, from waking up 4:35 in the morning to whether it's exercising. So there's such a wealth. I'm looking at some of my library here. There's just such a wealth everywhere. It's people, I dedicate myself to help people realize that there's more. There's more to life.
It's the abundance. So Peter Diamandis is someone that I read very early on, that whole idea of abundance. And I think we're in a place now where personal development, if you're wanting to learn finance or business or entrepreneurship or health, there is an abundance of information out there, as you say, like on YouTube, on podcasts, on Audible books. How do you prioritize like what's the plan for, let's put it differently, what's the plan for 2023 for your personal journey, Skye?
Oof, that's kind of huge. I have a huge list in my journal of goals. I kind of do 1, 3, 5, 10-year planning. So I'm not sure I'm going to be able to communicate that easily for your your audience.
Okay, that's fine. We'll move on to the next question. So for you, Skye, who's helped you most in your career?
Ooh, long list there. The most. Well, let's just say Ivan Anz. Ivan is absolutely one of the top names there.
Okay, awesome. For you, Ivan, tell me about a regret that you have.
A regret that I have. That's interesting because I just trust that everything that is happening today is exactly what needs to be happening for the better of everybody else in my life right now. And everything that happened in the past, or decisions that I made in the past, or everything that seems like it was or something that I will regret, right? It was for a positive reason after. So I always managed to connect everything that was somehow, I have this ability. I managed to connect everything that was somehow that you can look at it as negative with the positive result, or a positive effect after that. So yeah, that's my
so we have this answer quite a lot, and I'm going to push you a little bit on this, Ivan, because we have a lot of answers to that question. Like, I don't have regrets. I am a sum of all of my experiences, all of the knowledge that I've had, and therefore it's built me to this point. And I do understand that, and I respect that as an answer. I genuinely do, Ivan. But I just want to try and get a window into your mind, into your soul, to understand, is there something that you did, not necessarily did someone wrong or something like, but is there something that you think, right, I am what the sum of all my results, but if I'd have made that choice differently, it would have had a better impact on yourself, your family, your business, whatever it is?
Well, what it comes to my mind was that I was not conscious enough about the importance of the food systems and the good quality of foods and so on until I was 18 years old. And when I was 18 years old, my weight was 300 pounds.
Oh, right. Okay.
Okay. So imagine 18 years old, 300 pounds. And thanks that I connect with a friend that starts showing me and giving me the awareness about the importance of good food systems and the importance of learning about what you eat and having conscious about that and not eating what the media is selling you, but having understanding about that is important to have. And so from my 18 years old, when I was 20, I was already 200 pounds, and that's my weight because I am 6.5. You see?
Yeah, it's interesting.
So
it's really important because a lot of people I speak to, they say that health is almost more important than wealth, in the fact that you've got to be healthy and lead a positive life with food and with exercise to then be able to generate wealth or help others that way. So I think that's really important. So thank you. Skye, what are you most proud of?
Most proud, my thirst for more, my thirst for knowledge. I'm very proud of that. The ability to learn, the thirst to achieve more for myself. Very, very happy with that. Because without that, everything else would just kind of probably wilt away and die, right?
Absolutely. And for you, Ivan, what does legacy mean to you?
Legacy means that you have created something so good for humanity and you have transferred that knowledge to people and you don't hold it for you. So that knowledge, which is important to share, everything that you have accumulated in knowledge, basically.
Mm.
It has passed to the next generation, and that next generation have understand that and knows how to apply that knowledge to continue doing the things that were improving some area of the humanity. It's like leaving the world in a better shape than it was before you came to this planet, right?
Amazing.
That's and I see that in my book, the last chapter of my book, it actually talks about the two type of legacies: the financial legacy and the purpose legacy.
Right.
So you, to your kids or to your people that you love and you care, you leave them a financial legacy. That's one thing, but more valuable is the purpose legacy. Basically, meaning like they see that the reason why you were doing what you were doing and what you were doing with your money is more important than the money, itself, because it lasts. It lasts. It can last for infinity. The money, it can be badly managed and it doesn't exist anymore. But the legacy purpose, the legacy purpose or the purpose legacy is there, and it can last for eternity.
Amazing. And lastly, Skye, for you, where can people find you if they want to reach out to you or Ivan at Philantroinvestors?
The website, Philantroinvestors.com. Everyone has access to it. I can be located on there. Just Google my name. I'm on LinkedIn. I'm on, Philantroinvestors.com is a very easy way.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for today, Ivan and Skye. It's been really fascinating. I think you're doing valuable, hugely valuable work, and I just love the fact. that you've crossed borders and you've found multiple countries that you can do your supporting and you can help them there. It's incredibly inspiring, and hopefully some of my audience will reach out to you and hopefully be able to impact and you can impact their lives. So thank you very much for your time.
Absolutely, Mark. Thanks for having us.
Pleasure.
You're welcome, Mark.
I really hope you've enjoyed that content. It's a really fascinating interview that I've done there. So please do, if you are enjoying this content, please do give it a like. Please do give a subscribe. It'd be really good to boost the subscriptions. It really makes a difference to the algorithm in YouTube. So thank you for that. If you do hit subscribe, hit the bell icon and you'll get all of the content. You'll get notified when all the content is available. Thank you so much for your time. It's really appreciated. Thanks a lot.